You are going to see another video in Messmas with this hairstyle and makeup, and you're just going to leave me alone about it. What's up, Victoria? It's me, Victoria, and I'm going to do another tag. I know that tags are like, I don't know, I love doing tags. I also understand that they're really self-indulgent. But if you happen to be new to my channel and you are watching this tag, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you like the vibe, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Also, while you're down there, make sure you hit the like button and the hype button if you have the feature. I have Patreon and channel memberships if you're into that sort of thing, but no worries if you're not. There's going to be a pinned comment. In that comment will be links to support people who need your help right now. If you have additional funds to support those people, please consider doing so. I think we're ready to get into the tag. This is the makeup collection tag. Hold on, I have to pull up the questions. This is the makeup collection tag, and this was started by Georgia Harris, and I've done this before. So I posted my original one on August 20th, 2023, and my relationship to makeup and having a makeup collection has been evolving since I started doing YouTube. There was an evolution of a no buy, and that's like really kind of evolved. And now that I receive more PR than I ever have, and I make more money doing this than I ever have previously. I don't make a lot of money doing YouTube. I don't want you, I'm not rolling in the dough. This is a second job for me, but I do make more money on it now than I did 2 years ago. Was I monetized 2 years ago? These are things I can't remember. I think I was. I'm not 100% sure. I think I was monetized in 2022. No, that's might have been the first full year I was monetized. I don't remember. The rules of monetization on YouTube have changed so much, even since I've been monetized on YouTube. Anyway, life's a journey. We change our minds, we grow, and it's always fun to go back and consider questions you may have answered before with the new lens that you have on those things. And that's what I would like to do in this video. So I'll try to remember to link the original video where I did this down below, but many people have done this tag. It's very fun. Will I get the question titles right? Probably not. Question number 1, how long have you been collecting makeup? Well, this answer sure hasn't changed. I started buying makeup in 2016. I was doing drag makeup for Halloween. So that's how it all started. What kind of collection do you have? Minimal, utilitarian, aesthetic, historical, etc. I don't know how to answer this question. It's certainly not minimal, but it's less than a lot of other YouTube content creators have. But I also don't really like take pride in that. It's just like a fact. It's all of our approaches are different. And I think there's a big problem with comparing your makeup collection to someone else's. I know that you see a lot of people on the internet have really large makeup collections, and there are some people who really want their collection to present as minimal and realistic, even if they are doing YouTube and get PR and buy things for review. It really depends on the content creator. I would say that my collection is not aesthetic. It's not very, the way my collection is stored now is not very aesthetic. I used to. I don't really do that anymore. I can't say utilitarian because I do have more than I need. I'll have more than I ever need. And I don't really try to like minimize that too much. So I would say like right now, I would describe my collection as the collection that works for me. And I know everything that's in it. And I know how all of that makeup performs. But it's been a lot of work to get there. Are you a completionist? No, but it took a lot of work to get to this place. I used to collect Pat McGrath motherships. And a lot of this channel has been really breaking off that relationship. Whenever you hear me talk about the brand Pat McGrath now, it's a really layered conversation I'm having. If you've been here the whole time, or you have gone through the back catalog and watched all of my videos where I talked about how my relationship to consumption, specifically regarding Pat McGrath motherships and actually just the brand as a whole, you'll have a better understanding of like why my approach is the way it is. And I think watching those things in real time is a better way to experience that than me like sitting here and telling you all in one chunk of one video. Something broke the spell for me with Pat McGrath. It was the Mothership Utopian Dreams, I think it was. And she unveiled that, like she showed us what it was going to look like. And I said, why the fuck am I spending $130 on all of these eyeshadow palettes? It's not that I haven't spent that much on eyeshadows since then, and I might again. You know, it really depends on how I'm feeling and what I think and whether or not it's for a review or for me. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that I think about that, but I am not a completionist, and I also highly encourage you to not be. Unless you're independently wealthy or you have a partner who has a lot of money that lets you use their money. But I think that's a really dirty habit, a really bad habit to find yourself in. And I think collecting things is cool. But I think sometimes, actually, I think most of the time, collecting hinders other parts of your life, whether it's finances or space or things like that. You're sacrificing something to have a collection. I think having small little collections is great. You know, just like a little thing, like a little bit of something. But it's like, I don't know, like I have some, like I have these 4 art pieces, but I can't afford to have a ton more art pieces by this artist, and I really like them. And I have her art linked down below. I've been trying to link to and let you know where some of the stuff from my background is, if I can, if it's still available for you, or, you know, it's the artist. The buck kind of stops here with the art. I would like to own a real, like an original from her someday, like not a print. That would probably be the next thing I'd want to buy from her, and that wouldn't happen for a very long time because art is very expensive, and I understand that. Anyway, it's like, yeah, it's like I don't have the money. There are people who collect art, but a lot of those people have trust funds. Maybe I don't got no trust fund, so I can't be out here buying art pieces. And I understand that makeup doesn't have to be as expensive as even Pat McGrath, but it adds up. And then it also takes up space that you could be using in your house for other things. And I know that might be like 1 square foot or even less than a square foot of space. It's taking up space in your house. And this is something to remember too. How do you store/organize your collection? I have IKEA Alex drawers. In an ideal world, I'd go find some beautiful old storage for it. However, the Alex drawers, they like serve their purpose. And I know that there was a time where like that was like the thing, like everyone on YouTube was using the Alex drawers. I actually do like them for it. I don't know that it's like the best system for it. And I used to have like impressions vanity inserts for my Alex drawers, and I still use one of them, but I got rid of most of them. It was an aesthetic way to store my makeup, but it wasn't a very realistic way for me to store my makeup. This isn't a Sephora. This isn't an Ulta. I don't work at a makeup counter. My collection doesn't have to like look presentable. It's in drawers. I close the drawers. I want it to be organized in there, but it doesn't have to be aesthetic. So yeah, the outside I did bedazzle, which I do have a video on how to bedazzle the Alex drawers if you're into that sort of thing. It's on my channel. You can just look for it. Like if you want to put rhinestones on your Alex drawers, I made a video about that. So you can find that on my channel. So many things you can find on my channel. That's what I do. And then each drawer kind of holds a category. Like there's a cheek drawer, there's an eyeshadow drawer, and then there's a complexion / things I wear all the time drawer. But that's it. And I don't even use all the drawers. I do have a second IKEA Alex drawer, which holds all of the makeup that I get in PR or things that I buy to review. And it lives in there until I decide whether or not I want to keep it. So it's like, do I want to move it into my permanent collection? So that's how I store and organize my makeup. What is your favorite thing about your collection? Whenever we're talking about my permanent makeup, it's like I know every piece of makeup in that bitch. I don't know why I said that like that, but I know every piece of makeup in my makeup collection. I know how it performs. I know what to expect when I use the product, and there are no surprises in there. And that feels really great because it wasn't always like that. What is your least favorite thing about or something to improve your collection? Well, I would say like my least favorite thing about my makeup collection is I still feel like it's too big. And sometimes whenever I do keep things that I got in PR or that I bought for review, I feel like weirdly guilty about it because it's like I just have so much makeup, and I wear, even in my makeup collection, like my permanent makeup collection, I wear so little of it. Like it's like I do choose, I'm a very big creature of habit. I choose to wear things over and over again. And I think there is a world in which I like am a minimal makeup person. The day that YouTube beauty ends for me, whether or not I'm still on YouTube or not, I would bet money that my makeup collection ends up fitting in one IKEA Alex drawer. Like I think that's how minimal it would be. It'd be the one foundation that is my favorite foundation. It would be the one thing, like the one thing in each category that I would want to wear. Maybe I would have a few eyeshadow palettes kicking around just for options, but it's like I would probably use one until it was gone. And that's not how I've always felt about makeup, but it is how I feel about it now. I do like having some options, and because I film on YouTube and do YouTube and, you know, am considering to doing YouTube outside of the beauty realm, I still want to wear makeup and those things, and I will want to switch it up and not look the same in all of them. And I do like testing things. So, you know, it's just like, it is just kind of the reality of this work right now. But I also see a world and a vision where it becomes much smaller. What is the biggest category of your makeup collection? I would guess eyeshadow. Still, I still have a lot of eyeshadow. It's changed from palettes to singles, but I have a lot of little single shadows that I really love and adore. And their own little compacts. They're very sweet. I love them. What's the smallest category of your collection? Mascara. I normally only ever have one going at a time. And I might be testing others, but normally whenever I think about my permanent collection, there's usually only one floating around. And it's usually the Surat Releve mascara. Not to shout out a specific product, but it's usually that one. Do you have a holy grail in your collection? Not an anymore. There are products that I have been using for years and I use a lot. There's always new products coming out and always new things I'm testing. And I think the search for a holy grail is a bad thing. If you start thinking that there is a holy grail piece of makeup or a holy grail anything, once you get it, it will never satisfy the buildup that you have had to get to it. So it's like, you're looking for, quote unquote, the perfect concealer. You spend a ton of money, whether it's even at the drugstore or high end, you spend all this money trying a bunch of concealers, and then you find it, and then look behind you at all the concealers that you tried and opened, and I bet some of those were really good. And I bet if you didn't keep hunting for the best one, the holy grail one, you would have used some of those up and you would have really loved them. You would have figured out ways to make them work even better for you with your time with them. I do think the holy grail really distracts you from appreciating what you have. There's that search for the holy grail, or even hearing someone claim that they have a holy grail is something that can distract you from your makeup collection, because you'll start thinking that that person's holy grail is worth it for you. And the real likelihood is that it's probably not. And there's no perfect product, and your skin will change, your preferences will change, and one day it will not be your holy grail anymore, whether you're on a hunt for a new one or not. And I just think that's just something to consider. Do you ever wish your collection was bigger, smaller, or is it complete? I think this is a hard one for like people who get PR and do review content, because it's like, especially for those people like me who are doing this, where it's like, there is a world in which this all turns off and it becomes a very different thing, right? It's like the lights go off, the camera turns off. I'm not talking about beauty on camera anymore. And my makeup collection probably would stop. There would be like occasional things I think that would interest me. But when there's no pressure or necessary requirement, not necessary, I don't have to do this, I understand that. But if there's no reason to talk about newness to propel anything forward, then it's like, well, why would I? Before I even started doing beauty YouTube, I was spending so much money on makeup and stuff, and I would have never thought my makeup collection was complete. I feel like a completely different consumer than I was when I even started this channel. It's been such an evolution. That version of Tom does not believe that there is an end to a makeup collection, and this version of me right now is like, I could be done. I don't need to see anymore. How often do you declutter your makeup? I used to do it twice a year. I used to do July and December. Well, before, I didn't declutter makeup before I was on YouTube, and I didn't know it was a thing until I was on YouTube and watching makeup declutters. I feel like when I first started watching beauty content, there's been like gaps in my viewing of beauty YouTube. I was really into beauty YouTube in 2017. Think Your Tatis, Think Your Mannies. I never watched James Charles, but like that era, the pristine era where like you could post a beauty video and get millions of views just because you were talking about beauty. And I don't feel like decluttering was a big part of what they did back then. But now that the thing is like being more minimal, decluttering to minimalism with like the popularity of that kind of thing. Although it's kind of swinging back around. Like I don't feel like as many, like declutters still do well when I post them, but they don't do as well as they did 2 to 3 years ago. So I think people are tired of watching people get rid of stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing. But now I only do it one time a year, which is what I did this year. So I just did mine. I think I posted it in November. So if you want to see it, I did post it. It's very long. I go through each piece of makeup. I talk about it. I talk about my feelings about it. I talk about every piece of makeup in my makeup collection. Some parts I zoom through a little bit faster. I think I swatch everything but the eyeshadow palettes. I like never have gotten into swatching eyeshadow palettes on my declutters because it just ends up taking too long. Yeah, I do it just once a year, but I used to do it in July and December before this. I think this was the first year I did only one. And that's probably how I'll do it moving forward. I don't start thinking about decluttering now until the end of the year. So it's like when October hit, I started really thinking about the makeup in my collection that I haven't touched. Do I want to touch it before I declutter it, or can I just declutter it and not feel anything about it? So it becomes like, you know how at the end of the year, you just become much more reflective and retrospective about the year. That normally kicks in about the end of October, right around my birthday, actually, is like when I start thinking about that. And so that's kind of how the declutter has worked its way into my life these days. Do you ever get envious seeing other people's makeup collections? I have what I'm supposed to have. They have what they're supposed to have. Everyone's fine. Who on YouTube has the best makeup collection video? I wonder if I like phrased my makeup declutter video as like a makeup collection video, if more people would have watched it this year. I'm not sure about that. I like my makeup collection videos because I have watched some historically, because I do try to tell you how I feel about the thing. There's a lot of feeling about makeup. I feel like a lot of times when you're watching someone just talk about their collection and not being discerning about it in any sort of way, it's just kind of like, I have this palette. I have this palette. I have this palette. I have this palette. I have this blush. I have this blush. This pretty blush. Pretty blush. Pretty blush. Pretty blush. And if they swatch, I think that is a little more helpful. But I think talking about getting it, you know, so I'm always getting into it. One thing I'm doing, I'm getting into it, and I'm going to talk a lot about it. And I think that is much more helpful for people. And it depends on why you're watching someone's makeup. Like, are you just watching it to be in awe when they hold up the pretty thing? Or are you watching it to learn something about those things? And I have to imagine, this is shade. People who have hundreds of anything, hundreds and hundreds of one category of one piece of makeup, their knowledge and about that thing is minimal because there's too much. There's too much. If you have more eyeshadow palettes than there are days in the year, how could you know how you feel about any of them? How often are you wearing makeup? Even if you wore a different eyeshadow palette every day of the year, you wouldn't get through all of them. Shade that I just am throwing casually in this video. And number 14 is, what's some advice you would give to future makeup collector? Just don't do it. Don't collect. Be really pleased with what you have. I think it's totally fine if you buy something and it doesn't work out for you to want to find a better version of that thing. But if you get a thing in your hands, if you get like a concealer or a foundation where like it mostly works for you, you're good. You don't need the better thing. You don't need to find what. Be so discerning. Be so critical of, if you're watching beauty content in order to build your collection, be very critical of the people who you're watching. Be very critical about the way they talk about makeup. Know how they're talking about makeup. And I'm not saying that these people are inherently trying to deceive you, but if you watch beauty content creators, there is a large group of people who use the same verbiage and talk about the like all aboutisms of makeup and like you need, you want, run, don't walk. And I try to avoid saying those things. I do love, like I do throw the word out love, even if I'm trying something for the first time where I'm like I love the way this is appearing. But you know, is that person following up? Because a lot of people say they're going to follow up and then you never hear about their never follow up. It's just like, I'll circle back to this and they never do. And it's like, is that important to you? What are you trying to do with your collection? Be critical of yourself whenever you are trying to make decisions to bring things into your makeup collection. Do you need it? Do you want it? Can you afford it? Do you not go, those are so many things to consider. One thing you should keep in mind is you are building a collection. Is like, this is frivolous and it's okay. Like, I'm not trying to like dismiss a thing that is typically feminine, which I have been accused of many times on my channel, where it's just like, well, men can collect their Pokemon cards or whatever, like, or watch football and spend all their money on that. I think they should be just as discerning about that. What we're talking about here is just something that I also have done. Getting into debt over makeup is so silly. The stuff expires and it's also just meant to be playful. And if you have to just know what makes you happy, does wearing the makeup make you happy? And are you happy with the makeup that you have? Or could you be happy with the makeup that you have? Is your goal to collect or is your goal to love makeup? You can love makeup without collecting and you can collect without loving. Be really real with yourself about what you want, because sometimes you get to a point, and I did it on YouTube, where you're like talking about your makeup and you're like, makeup collection, you're like, oh my God, I've spent so much money, I've done all this stuff, and I still love makeup, I'm still deeply passionate about makeup, but it's like, I never needed to have as much as I used to. I have too much now too, I feel, but it's like, it's not saying, it's like, you don't have to associate guilt with it, but just make sure you're not going to get to a place where one day you will feel guilty or you will regret that. Approach with caution, proceed with caution as you enter this. I don't feel like a lot of people are collecting makeup now. I think collecting makeup is something that people my age and older who are really in the niche whenever the makeup boom happened. I just don't, are people on TikTok collecting makeup like this? Like Michaela Nagara is like a very specific person, but I'm trying to think of like other content creators on TikTok, which I don't watch a ton of beauty content. Is there like that moment where like they step out of the way and you see like the Sephora behind them and like people are still in awe of that? I'm not sure. I also think that how fast TikTok moves has made people more critical of other people in real time a little bit more. YouTube, it takes a long time to film and edit and upload, but like you can really shoot from the hip on TikTok. And I think people are doing that, but also in direct response. Like, of course, like people can leave nasty comments on YouTube videos too, but it's like, I think the conversations are happening a lot faster. Is what you're doing actually aspirational if you are planning on collecting makeup? I don't know. It might be for you. I know it's not for me anymore. That's why this feels like a much more neutral, leaning negative conversation. All of these questions. It's like makeup collector, makeup collection. Anyway, that's going to be it for me in this video. So I'm sorry it's kind of negative, but I also guess this is why we talk about how my relationship with all of this evolves all the time. And your relationship is evolving too, whether or not you are sitting in front of a mirror talking to yourself about it. Food for thought for you. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out the pinned comment to support those people who need your help. Make sure you leave a like before you leave. Let me know in the comments how you feel about some of these things. I'm very curious. Are any of you collecting? Like it's not really about the wearing of the makeup. You just like to have the items. Let me know. Have any of you broken the habit of collecting? Like, collecting all of the, being a completionist? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. That's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your haute and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.